Okay, so this is the review. So we'll do this in two parts, the questions that we did in class yesterday and then the questions we didn't do. Okay, so the first question here is a cylinder, and we want to find the volume of the cylinder. So our volume formula for a cylinder was length was pi r squared h. Okay, so volume is pi. The radius here, the distance from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle, or to the circle itself, is 4, so that's 4 squared, and then the height is the distance between the two bases. So that's going to be 13, so pi times 4 squared times 13. All right, and we put that in our calculator here, so we would have pi times 4 squared times 13, and that's going to give us about 653.45. So 653.45. They don't have units here, so we'll just put units cubed. Okay. Oops. So there is number 1. Okay. Number 2 here is a pyramid. So the pyramid, our volume formula, right? It's 1/4 of a rectangular prism, so it's going to be 1/3 of a rectangular prism. So 1/3 times length times width times height. Okay. This question should have had wording. It's really a square pyramid, so should be 130 by 130. So we're going to do 1/3 times 130 times 130, and then the height of the pyramid is from the base to the top is 60. So we have 1/3 times 130 times 130 times 60. And that's going to give us 338,000 feet cubed. So volume here is going to be 338,000 feet cubed. Next one here is a house. So we're looking for the volume. So you have a rectangular prism, right? A rectangular prism right here. So we can kind of delete that if we want a little bit though. So it's not in the way, but rectangular prism. So the rectangular prism is length times width times height. So volume here is length times width times height. So 20 by 30 is our base. So 20 times 32. Sorry, 32. And then the height of our prism, rectangular prism here is 12. So 20 times 30 times 12. Sorry, 32. 20 times 32 times 12. And that's going to be 7,680. Okay, and then we have a triangular prism for the attic and roof here. So triangular prism is 1/2. It's the area of the triangle. So 1/2 base times height. That's the height of the triangle. And then times the height of the prism. So the distance between the two triangles, the two bases of the prism. So our volume here is going to be 1/2. Okay, base of the triangle, that's this right here, is going to be 20. Okay, and then the height of our, maybe use a different color here. Okay, this piece here, this height here is 12. And they tell us the whole thing is 18. So that means our height of our triangle needs to be 6, because this whole thing is 18. This bottom piece is 12, so 18 minus 12 gives us 6. Okay, and then the height really is the distance between the bases, so that's the distance between the two triangles in our triangular prism, which would be 32. Okay, so 1/2 times 20 times 6 times 32. So 1/2 times 6 times 20 times 32, right? 1/2 times 20 times 6 times 32. That's going to give us 1,920. And then we can add that to 7,680, so plus 7,680. It's going to be 9,600 feet cubed. So our total volume here is going to be 9,600 feet cubed. Okay. Here we have a cone. So the volume of a cone is 1/3 times the volume of a cylinder. So 1/3 times pi r squared h. Okay. So they give us the radius here is 5. So 1/3 pi 5 squared times the height, which is 9. Okay, so 1/3 times pi times 5 squared times 9. That's going to give us 253.62. And again, that's feet cubed because it's volume. It's three-dimensional. Yep. Next one here, we have a cylinder and a rectangular prism. So the cylinder volume is pi r squared h. Right, so volume is radius is 20, and then the height is 100. So pi times 20 squared times 100. So pi times 20 squared times 100 is going to be 125,663. What was it, 0.7? 0.71. And one hash mark is feet, so that's feet cubed. Okay, then we can do the rectangular prism is length times width times height. So that one's going to be 40 by 45, and then a height of 35. Okay, so if we do 45 times 40 times 35, that's 63,000. Feet cubed. So then we add these together, right? Add. And so our total volume here is going to be 100 and, was that 88,663.71 feet cubed. Oops. Okay. All right, next one, the diameter of a soccer ball is 8.6 inches. That means the radius is half of that, so that's 4.33 for the radius. And the soccer ball is a sphere, so the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So we have 4/3 pi and then 4.33 cubed. So if we go to put that in the calculator, uh, 4.33 cubed, it's going to be 340.06. Inches cubed. Okay. All right, number 7 here, we're going to have to zoom in. Okay, so again, this question's just, they're shown just like this one on the test. Okay, so here you have right triangle, so we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem for these. okay, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So again, Pythagorean theorem. So a and b are the legs. So this would be at a, and then this would be c. So we're going to do 4 squared plus 6 squared equals, and we can call this x. We'll call it x squared. Okay, so that's 24 plus 36 equals x squared. So that's going to be 60 equals x squared. So we take the square root of both sides to get rid of the square. Okay, and the answer really should be plus or minus, but since it's a distance, we just want the positive value. So square root of 60 is 7.75. So 7.75 feet. Right, and then this one here, same thing. It's a right triangle, so we're looking for the third side of a right triangle. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and b are going to be the legs, so 3 and 2. So 3 squared plus 2 squared equals, and let's call this one y, equals y squared. So that's going to be 9 plus 4 equals y squared, which is going to be 13. And take the square root of both sides. .61 was y. Okay, and then we got to add all these together. So we have, we're looking for the length of the whole, all the boards. So this one's 7.75. Right, this one is 3.61. This one's 3.61. These would symmetric, so this one would also be 3.61, and this one would be 7.75. So we add them all together. So I want 7.75 times 2 plus 3.61 times 2. That's going to give us 22.72. I recall getting a different answer yesterday in class. We do this right? Oh, I think we just did 7.8. 9, 4, 13, square root of 13. All right, yeah, we're good. Okay, number 8 here. I think an 8, 9 were the last two we did, so we can zoom out probably a little. Okay, do the measurements for this truss match the given pitch needed? So this one was a no, right? Because our slope is equal to rise over run. Okay, and we went up 4, but we only went over 10, right? So we went up 4, and then we ran 10. So our slope here was 2/5, not 1/5, right? So 2/5 is not 1/5. So no, they don't match up. Slope of our roof is 2/5, not 1/5. Okay, so the second one kind of goes with it. Okay, so let's zoom out here. I don't know why it's like that, but it tells us a bucket of paint is sitting on the roof. If the pitch is greater than 1/5, then it falls over. Does the bucket fall over on this roof? So our slope was 2/5. 2/5 is greater than 1/5. So yes, our bucket is going to fall over because our slope is too steep. It's too steep of a slope. It's greater than 1/5. Right, our slope is greater than 1/5, so the bucket will fall over. Yes. Okay, and those are the questions we did in the Zoom meeting. I'll do a second part going over 10 through 17, which we didn't go over in the Zoom meeting.